The year was 1925, and many people were undergoing great hardship because of the Great Depression. One man did not have to undergo such hardships. His name was Joseph Franklin Rutherford. Rutherford is the man who gave the Bible students the name Jehovah's Witnesses. Charles Taze Russell passed away, and the Bible students had a new leader.
Witnesses, do not fear you, because God is with us. Your end has come. The divine judgment is written against you, and declaring your destruction, and you're going to die. And the memory of you shall perish forever. All order-loving Catholics, Jews, and Protestants, I address these words of hope. Heretofore, you have followed the lead of unrighteous men, permitting them to think for you. If forsake religion and choose and serve God and Christ, His King, all who do not stand for God and His King but Christ remain in opposition and will be destroyed.
But along with a new leader, the Bible students had to now accept a new doctrine. Joseph Rutherford completely changed a lot of beliefs of the Bible students. Now, where did Joseph Franklin Rutherford get these new teachings from? In past videos, I've shown you that Rutherford himself says they came from angels. Angels zapped into his mind these new teachings. Though Rutherford may have been confused as to which angels were giving him these teachings. In my last video in the series, I showed you Johannes Grieber's doctrine and how close they are to watchtowers. Johannes Grieber got his doctrines from these evil spirits also. But how do we really know that these are evil spirits? Well, let me show you something. This is the book Communication with the Spirit World, Its Laws and Purposes by Johannes Grieber. And we're going to look at the active force or force of life that a New World Translation puts in the place of Holy Spirit. In the New World Translation, in Genesis 1:2, they begin by saying God's active force was moving to and fro over the surfaces of the waters. Now, most Bibles say God's Spirit, and the word Spirit is capitalized. That's what most other translations say, but other translations do not use the word force. That is a teaching that is specific to Jehovah's Witnesses and Johannes Grieber. Now you can search in Watchtower Library for force. It's used all throughout the New World Translation. Also in Genesis 7 verse 15 it says, of flesh of which the force of life was active. And again in verse 22 it says, of which the breath of the force of life was active. Now in most other translation it just says the breath of life, no force anywhere. Now back to Johannes Grieber's book, Communication with the Spirit World. This book was printed and distributed in the year 1932, 7 years after Rutherford started changing their doctrines. But you can see here he speaks about the seances he attended, where he got these teachings from. And we're going to look at active force. And it's right here under the law of odic force, life force, pages 62 to 86. And I'm not going to read all that, but let me just show you a couple things. It says under the law of odic force, because of their different natures, spirit and matter cannot act upon each other directly. Not even your own spirit is capable by itself of activating a limb or organ of your body. Not even I, who have taken possession of the body of this boy, can make his body sit up or raise his hands or produce a sound with his organs of speech by my own efforts alone. In order to do these things, your own spirit and I as well require a power current. In the same way, the operator of a machine requires a constant supply of power furnished by steam or electricity if his machine is to function. If that supply is lacking or is inadequate, the machine will stand still. In our case, the spirit is the machinist. The machine is the body or matter. If the matter is to be set in motion by the spirit, a power current is necessary. The learned men of old called this power current in human beings the soul, as distinguished from spirit and body. Thus they taught quite correctly that man is made up of spirit, soul, and body. The Bible calls the power current or vital energy the breath of life, and God breathed into man's nostrils the breath of life, thus man became a living being. The scientists of today call the power current in man the odic force. This odic or life force exists in and around all things created by God. Every human being, every animal, every plant, every stone, every mineral, all water, every heavenly body, every spirit, and all other existing things possess odic force. It is nothing material, but is spiritual and always associated with a spirit. It is the life force of the spirit, which is therefore always its conveyor. Hence, whenever there is life, there is ode, and wherever there is ode, there is spirit. Since this odic force exists in and around all things created by God, and is always associated with spirit, it follows that there is a spirit in everything created. That sounds incredible to you, yet it is the truth. This sounds exactly how Watchtower teaches about the Holy Spirit. They teach it's an electric, active force of God. And I'm not going to read all of this, but towards the end it says, "But all life in both the material world and in the world of spirit is bound up with the odic force. This is the most powerful force in creation, and it is the force by means of which God, who is the source of this force, can overturn all things." So therefore, the odic force can be called the active force, as they call it in the New World Translation. And there are many, many more pages where he explains this, but you get that Johannes Grieber is saying that his ideas of Holy Spirit is a force, just exactly as Watchtower teaches it. Isn't that interesting? So it makes you wonder where the Watchtower, Rutherford, and all them, where did they get these teachings, since they're exactly the same? Now, if you go online and you look up active force, you'll find this is spoken about in Transcendental Magic. And if you look up active force in this book, which is the Doctrine of Transcendental Magic, and you can find this book on Google, there's 3 places where they speak of the active force in this book. And if you look, they speak of ode, the odic force. It says, to this agent the Hebrews applied the name of ode when it manifested in active force, of ode when it exhibited its passive force. So that's amazing. Now here is the front of the book of Transcendental Magic, and this book came out in 1896. And if you look in the book, at the first page they tell you where these teachings came from. And you see here's a picture of Baphomet, the satanic Baphomet. This really makes you think if the teaching of active force should be anywhere in a Bible, since this is a teaching of demons. And Jehovah's Witnesses, you should ask yourself, is it okay with you that you hold teachings of demons as your own?